Well, acid jazz was actually a label named as a response to acid house music that came out in the late 80s, and a couple of guys, Giles Peterson and Eddie Pillar, started it, and they put out a couple of tunes. They put out our first single, and sorry, our first album. In fact, we'd released a single with a label called Cool Tempo. Because Acid House came out, they just ditched all the sort of funkier stuff, which was sort of having a little moment in the club scene and stuff in London and around the world. Well, actually, just in a few clubs, so we made our own record and funded it with acid jazz, and really, I think the Brand New Heavies record kind of launched acid jazz kind of beyond what it would have been, a more sort of smaller niche sort of thing. For like, you know, kind of people in the bubble of liking a certain type of music. We kind of freshened it up and broke out and into a sort of pop thing. We had songs like Dream Come True, which are like, oh, they're like kind of funky. That's pretty much the riff through the whole song. But, you know, it was kind of sounding fresh and funky. It didn't sound like old music. It sounded kind of like new music. So acid jazz was this kind of combination of like old tunes being released and new bands sort of reinterpreting it and doing new stuff, you know. And then, of course, like hip-hop's beginning at this time. So you've got like this kind of spoken word stuff from Galliano, an acid jazz band. And this kind of beatnik thing going on. There's all this fashion going on, like old denim and like goatee beards and stuff, and then like De La Soul and the Tribe Called Quest are starting in New York, and they're looking for beats, the sample, and we're kind of looking there, and the funk scene is looking for records to play. So there's kind of this like synonymous thing, and in fact we eventually made a hip hop album, probably the first hip hop record with live instruments on it. And ended up in a big Hollywood movie called Happy Feet with one of the tunes, surprisingly. Down the line, I'll play some of that in a minute if you're very lucky. And that's acid jazz, you know, it was more just I don't think they ever thought it would become like a genre. It was the name of a label, which became a sort of genre, you know. And then Japan was picking up on all this stuff, so we got to go out to Japan very early, America in the early days, and just amazing. It got me around the world, you know, phenomenal. Stick with it.